Welcome back, guys. I'm Achilles, jumping on for the last series of the night to figure out which other team is going to be representing the APAC region in the June Joust. I'm Achilles, joined as always by Avril, and let's just clear the air real quick. What just happened? Hello? Anything? Because I can't really wrap my brain around it.
Dude, I'm shaking. I'm shaking up. That was wild. I feel bad for the Hangzhou fans live there. You hate to see it. You go 4-0 in your regular season. Yeah. 2 of those wins came from your home stand. And then somehow, at the final hurdle, you lose to the team that shouldn't even be here. NYXL, they're not even meant to be here. And they get through, and they somehow 3-1 Hangzhou to make it into the actual June Joust tournament. Unbelievable performance. Crazy stuff.
Yeah, it's nuts. I mean, the 4-0 team beaten by the 4th seed. Something about math, the 4s cross-cancel. I don't know what's going on. It's this weird X9 run that we have from NYXL. You know, pulling off their, a reversal of what they normally do. Normally, they're going to choke in the playoffs. Instead, they kind of choke throughout the season, and they get into the playoffs. And now they're going,
opposite day.
I say going to Hawaii in quotations. They're playing against the North American squads. So it's a really weird inverted reality that we're in at the moment. But I'm all right with it because it's damn exciting to see. So a huge congratulations to the NYXL. But we still have one more team to decide, and that is a huge matchup here, Avril. You and I were able to cast this matchup not very long ago, but it's going to be the Seoul Dynasty going up against the Shanghai Dragons yet again.
Yeah, we're going to have what I deem to be the kind of Eastern Division APAC El Clasico here. This is my favorite rivalry in the entire division. There's no sort of, I want to say, kind of forced rivalry here. It's not like they're sharing a territory or anything like that. These are just 2 teams that have had really close games, really solid matchups in the past. I mean, everyone remembers what happened in 2020 playoffs. They just played each other pretty recently. I mean, we've got to highlight 2 players here as well. Lip and Fitz, I think 2 of the best hit scan players up and coming. I say up and coming, really. Yeah. You should know them by now. Fitz had a real big turn up this particular season, especially in June Joust. Lip's been good all year. Lip, strangely enough, ever since he's come off of the Sombra and he's gone more towards the McCree, like we can see the stats here, and onto the Ashes and onto, the what you'd expect to be proper hits. And then also, by the way, the Tracer he showed the May Melee, he's been phenomenal. This guy's right at the top of my list in terms of hit scans in the Overwatch League right now, and Fitz is doing a damn good job of catching up.
Yeah, absolutely. And, we were just kind of, splurging on about this just, over the last 2 days, I suppose, with Fitz and how consistent he has been as of late, how well he is meshing alongside Prophet. Obviously, Lip and Fleta just as good, very close to it as far as the DPS duo is concerned. So this is going to be really the key matchup to keep our eyes on and see who is going to be able to come out on top in those hit scan duels, because both, they really have their work cut out for them. Like, I would weigh probably the Dynasty's DPS duo higher if you just look at those 2, but if it's Fitz versus Lip individually, it becomes way murkier. It's really hard to tell which one is going to have the upper hand in that matchup there.
I mean, this is like, pretty star-studded rosters across the board here. You've got 2 MVPs, 1 at each team, Prophet versus Fletty here. You've got Overwatch League winners in Gesture and Prophet coming over. Lip's been phenomenal this year. I think if Lip keeps playing in his current form, he's got to be in talks for Roll-Star, MVP, all of that kind of stuff. Looking all-star quality no matter what. So just great things all around. I mean, Easyaki's had a fantastic, year so far as well. The entire team's been pretty solid. Void is always going to be Void. It does seem like that Seoul, since losing to Shanghai pretty recently, and as a reminder, the last game that Shanghai played in June Joust was actually versus Seoul, where they kind of crushed them. They kind of destroyed Seoul because Seoul were figuring out the meta. They were trying to figure out June Joust. They were playing this kind of gesture hog thing with Marvel coming to play the Sigma, and it wasn't working. I'm not going to lie, it would look pretty bad. And Dynasty, they agree, because we see them at the Hangzhou Spark homestand, and instantly they change things up. Marvel's back on the bench, 2U's coming in to play Diva, and also the Sigma, by the way. And we saw Seoul this weekend, and Seoul yesterday specifically, when they brought 2U back out, and he was on that Sigma, and now you no longer have Marvel playing Sigma, and 2U's the guy that's just like, I'm the flex tank, I'm going to cover all the flex tank roles. He completely demolished. He was so good. That accretion onto Eileen's Nanoblade, beautiful stuff. And Seoul Dynasty, when they want to, they are finally getting it together. Deep into, a tournament run, deep into a playoff kind of area now. They're suddenly clicking, and that's when Seoul are the most dangerous.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, they've been just looking absolutely terrifying as of late. Gesture really, reining it in, making sure that he's not overextending, not getting farmed. So it's been an overall good look for the Seoul Dynasty as of late. They still have a very tough opponent. I mean, Shanghai Dragons, they're another one of those teams that you really can't count out, especially when it comes down to playoffs. They do excel in that pressure. So this is going to be, hopefully, I should say, a very tight matchup, because so far today, things have not gone as anticipated. So hopefully that is not going to be the case here. Hopefully this is going to be another extremely close series. I, for one, am always down with the 5 maps played, if not more. Who knows? We could always have some draws. Make it happen.
You're definitely within reason here, because when these two teams face off, and by the way, the record stands at 8-7, 8 in the Shanghai Dragons court, because they just won their last outing versus Seoul, but Seoul have 7. So it's like 15 times these teams have played over the years, which is a crazy amount, by the way. Of that, now we're starting to see, Dragons have had some sweeps in there, but when Seoul win, they typically will take the series a bit longer. But even when Dragons won, I think the last game they played was still 3-1, even though Seoul were not quite on board, I would say, with where the meta was in terms of their read and all that kind of stuff. So I would expect a close series. I mean, two of the best teams in the APAC region, especially Seoul, when they really start to get it together, really start to make it work, and that's right now. And every single Shanghai fan remembers last year during playoffs what happened when you met a playoffs ready Profit and also Seoul Dynasty, and it was bad news. So here it is right now, Seoul Dynasty starting 6 to use on. I mean, we already saw the player cams earlier, so everyone's pretty familiar. Yeah. It's the Profits duo versus Flitter and Lip, and a bunch of great players across both sides.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, looking at, they're climbing the standings here as of late, I would say, for the side of Fitz and Profit. We'll have to see how things are going to update with IBM Watson at the end of the weekend and on Monday. But, yeah, Lee Jae-gon. Guys putting up huge numbers. You can see Fleta there as well. I mean, everybody on the side of the Dragons highly rated. Every single time we check in on those power rankings, it's a mix of the Fuel, it's a mix of the Dragons. So this is unsurprising. But we know that the Dynasty are capable of playing at this level, so numbers aren't everything. Rankings don't always necessarily matter, which is why, you look at Platchet, you look at Avast when they do their power rankings.
Yeah, sure.
You can add one thing, though. For the most part.
I got to add one thing, though. It says Lip is 5 out of 38 for DPS. He's actually number 1 right now. He's actually number 1 out of all the DPS updated on the IBM Watson Power Rankings, and 3rd overall for all players. If you're curious as to who the top 5 are, it goes Fearless, Fate, Lip, Fielder, then Void. So you got 3 Dragons members on the overall ranking. Let's be fair, it's like mostly Dallas Fuel and mostly Shanghai Dragons, because those are the 2 teams that went the deepest in May Melee. They went to the grand finals, and Watson, it really does enjoy it when you win. So you're going to have a lot of those players really high up. But Lip's now taken number 1 for DPS and number 3 overall for all players, where strangely you have 2 main tanks are actually above them, both main tanks of Dallas and also Shanghai Dragons. So all those fake doubters out there, I got to tell you, IBM Watson is back in Fate 100% here. So we'll have to see how that matchup goes as well, because we're seeing a lot of Orisa gameplay coming on through, and previously I would have expected. I was looking at this meta thinking it's quite a Winston-heavy meta. I was looking at a lot of Winston stats, looking at how things are going in that regard. And then if you just watched the NY Excelsior versus Hangzhou game, things move towards Orisa very, very quickly. And when I look across some of the previous matches we've had over the June Joust, especially this homestand weekend, a lot of teams have been moving towards double bubble. Namely, I think Seoul were a team very keen on that one, because even before they had 2 come into play Sigma, they were already trying to play some double shield. Gesture obviously on the Hog, but Marvel, they were really thinking Sigma is one of the plays here. We got to try and add Sigma to the team. So both teams, I expect that it's going to be some variation of Orisa Diva, maybe Orisa Sigma, maybe a bit of dive still in there, but Orisa's going to be a big hero today.
Yeah, for sure. And we were talking, at length yesterday about that, and how that is very, very good for the side of the Seoul Dynasty. We'll have to see how, Fate's going to take to this, because, the last time that we did see them, it wasn't that centric on the Orisa, so we'll be a little bit of a change up there. But sure, he's going to be able to just hold down left-click, place barriers, and, halt some people together, so it shouldn't be too bad. I'm just curious, to see more of Tuyu on the Sigma, because he was phenomenal. You think about, that amazing Nanoblade shutdown that we saw on Nimbani, just getting that accretion and immediately just blowing up targets. Everybody has, kind of thought of Marvel as the guy who's going to be playing the Sigma if you want to run it. He showed it. It was a little bit shaky at the start, had to kind of shake the rust off, I suppose. And then from there, he just got into top gear and just started shredding people left, right, and center. So it was a really good showing. So I'm hoping to see some more Sigma from him.
Yeah, I think Seoul have, it's very evident that Seoul have definitely found their market. They've found their stride deep into a meta here. It's kind of like, if you watch the NA games today, it's kind of like Washington Justice kind of late into the season. They've also kind of found their stride. The difference is Seoul didn't manage to still get enough wins to make it deep in to get to the knockout stage of the Eastern Division here, so they get to kind of bear the fruit of finding their mark and finding their stride and being able to really prove their worth in a meta, especially an opportunity to get revenge on the Dragons, where, again, they lost to the Dragons in a very recent matchup just before this weekend. So it's an opportunity for these two teams in the APAC El Clasico to get it out there. And you always enjoy when Dragons and Seoul play up in a matchup. It's always mega impactful when you see this DPS line of all these 4 players go up against each other, stack lineups across the board. Shanghai fans out here in full force. Now that Hangzhou Spark have been eliminated, I wouldn't be surprised if all the fans in the audience, they'll be headed back Shanghai now.
Yeah, I mean, take the pink jerseys off, put the red ones on. Just swap them up, be ready to show your support. So yeah, I mean, they still do have a Chinese organization
Titans
that they can cheer for at this event. There is a cheeky Titans fan chilling in the audience. That's a rare breed.
Yeah,
showing up.
Like
I mean,
I
don't think you're going to be getting any.
They're like, oh, there's an NA fan.
I don't think they have breadsticks really over there. I don't think it's very common, so he's not going to be able to collect his breadsticks too much. But yeah, there's probably they probably have Pizza Hut.
I think they got Pizza Hut. They got KFC. They must have Pizza Hut. But yeah, I don't know about the breadsticks yet. Well, to be fair, the NA fans haven't won their breadsticks yet either. So still waiting for that boop or that Map 5 on the way.
Very different franchises to just be like, well, if there's a KFC, then clearly this must be there. One cannot exist without the other.
Yeah, pizza and chicken. What's the problem? No, it's because like those. I'm not going to get into the full story, but those two franchises are like kind of linked in my part of the world. They're like linked to one parent thing. It's complicated. It's not really. I just don't want to talk about it too much. But yeah, that's why I thought of it. Then I remembered. You know what? Maybe the rest of the world doesn't work like that. So there is.
Maybe it's slightly different.
I've been reminded of how worldly everything is. So we found out, and it's so worldly that we have Titans fans live in the Hangzhou homestand, which shouldn't be a huge surprise. I expect a lot of Overwatch fans from various teams should be there, but it's a moment. And actually, one other thing as well, I remember seeing when we saw some crowd shots during the last match as well. We had someone wearing the Season 1, Season 2 Shanghai jersey. I'm like, that's the real fan. That's the diehard Shanghai fan right there. Because they know pain. They went through the Season 1 and Season 2 pain, especially that Season 1 pain of the 040 and 042 subsequently as well. So, now they get to experience Shanghai winning, or we'll see in a few short moments if that continues or not, because we've had one major upset today already. I think it's fair to say that NYXL getting the win was definitely an upset.
Oh, yeah. I mean, there's no other way to cut it. It was just a crazy David and Goliath victory there for the side of the NYXL. They found the sling and they nailed the shot and they just took him down. So it was really crazy to see. I mean, you and I were obviously, watching the game, talking to each other throughout it, and we were just kind of losing our minds watching the series unfold and seeing, the Spark getting full held there at that point A on Dorado right at the end. It's like, oh my God, they're actually going to do it. NYXL finally have found a bit of their groove, and Hangzhou as well didn't look great. You have to expect or kind of interpret that it may have very well been the pressure of performing in front of a live audience with this incredibly important series, to be able to go into your first tournament. There's only a few throughout the year, so missing out on now 2 is really damning when it comes down to your end of season standings. You want to go as far as you possibly can, be as dominant as you can. So while the score that they got throughout June up until this event is going to be good, having that 4-0, that is going to be good for them in the long run. It's still not going to be great to not be able to compete against the North American squads.
Especially when this was meant to be the run. This is the 4-0 run. You're the only undefeated team in all of APAC. Everyone's been saying you're the best team in APAC for a while. Everyone's pretty much agreed on that, and also have agreed upon the fact that NYXL have been looking shaky. They've been there, but also they've been missing out. They've been kind of, not quite. But two teams that definitely haven't, as you start to see the clappers going through. Yep, you know what it means. It means Shanghai taking the stage. They are live in the venue, live at the Hangzhou Spark homestand. Yep, there it is. That's the roster. Shanghai Dragons, the most, historically in the past couple of years, the past year and a half, historically most dominant team in the APAC region for a while, being only bested by the Seoul Dynasty last year, late into the season as we head into the grand finals.
We'll see what they can get done. I mean, none of these players are, they're all very well used to playing in front of live audiences. So this is not going to be a new experience at all. Should not have to worry about any kind of stage jitters. Yes, they are going to be the last hope for, China, for Chinese-owned organizations to try to make it into the June Joust. But I think that they're going to be able to shake that off. Everybody here on this roster has been competing for a very long time. Yeah, they are all veterans. They are all very well seasoned. So I don't expect that the pressure is going to get to them too much. Yeah. Oh, everybody on this lineup. Moon knows how to pick them. He's like, oh yeah, you played for this long. Okay, you're going to be good. Let me grab you. So
Moon is like,
I mean, it starts set across the board. You don't have to worry about these guys choking on stage.
Yeah, I describe Moon as he's like the Christopher Nolan of Overwatch League coaches. He only works with people he's worked before with. He has this kind of ensemble cast that of all the kind of actors he's already hired before and cast in previous movies. So that's kind of how this works for the Shanghai Dragons. They take the Chris Nolan approach, and epic games, epic movies, what I'm talking about right now. As he's got his cast. Just gotta figure out which one of these guys is the Leo DiCaprio of the team.
I mean, hey, and it is in keeping, because every now and then you have several hits, and then sometimes you have a miss. I mean, Shanghai Dragons, they have they have flopped. They weren't able to make it into the grand final last year. So that's kind of like the Dark Knight Rises of their performances, I suppose, where it was okay. It was you didn't regret watching it, but it also could have been way better. It wasn't the Dark Knight. It's not what you were expecting when you went into the theater. So it does happen. But that's a pretty decent analogy, I suppose. We'll see what happens here. We'll see which Christopher Nolan film we get from this Shanghai performance. Maybe it's a Tenet, and just this series is going to be wild, and we won't understand it very well.
Dynasty on the other side is it's a wild mixture of super veterans from Season 1, including Overwatch League champions, and then rookies as well. And just kind of everything across the board. So they've definitely got a few things going on for them. Funny but a thing here as well is that I don't think Moon was part of this team, but Marvel was part of the old Lucky Future Zenith roster that also included DM and Ursa, who have recently left the Shanghai Dragons. So there's a bit of cross-pollination there in terms of who's gone where and who's played with who. So we're not going to be seeing Marvel or DM or Ursa, I guess. Would have been nice to have DM and Ursa maybe at the homestand. I'm not too sure if they are there or not. I assume probably not, but I'm sure the rest of the players are there, including Molly, who is a Chinese player who would love to be, meeting up with the fans. And I'm sure they have plenty of time to do that before and afterwards. But right now, about to head into map number 1, Lijiang Tower of the Eastern Division knockouts. Here, Seoul versus Shanghai Dragons. The winner goes on through to the June Joust tournament. The loser will be eliminated. We'll have to wait until next stage.
Yeah, that is a long wait. Don't want to have to just be sitting there at home, just practicing, but not for a series that's up and coming. Teleporters out, straight out the gate. We're going to have Fleta over on the Soldiers 76. So double hit scan here for the side of the Shanghai Dragons. We'll see Fitz sticking with the Symmetra. So wasn't just going for the TP boost. He wants to try to burn them down. This could be good because you can get that left click charge, get that damage amped up off of the Orisa barrier. Let's see how they... Oh, there it goes.
No way.
Okay, well, it's a tragedy.
That's like the main DP is gone.
Yep, instantly it's just eliminated, and this could just very well be a calling now, and that's exactly what it's looking like. The barriers are not going to be able to survive. Provident, the ice block there on the point. Yep, just will get picked off. It is a team kill effectively, and Fitz just says, okay, yeah, I'll just go for the McCree.
Absolutely. I mean, at this stage, you don't want to be retaking with the Symmetra, especially not in this situation where Shanghai Dragons know it as well. They're going to get aggressive, try and get some, a good tickle damage in there, some good, with Flatter on the Soldier specifically, where previously I think Soul have also played a decent amount of Soldier. We did see that. That's going to open up the Prophet, and already an opening frag that makes things so much more difficult for Soul. And they're just locked up. They can't move anywhere.
Yeah, they're trying to hold them back in. Immortality Field now going to be used. Void pressing forward, manages to clean up too, and they are right outside the dropship. Fitz with no chance to escape will get picked off. And I was about to bring this up right as Prophet did get picked off, and looking like maybe it's going to happen again. Let's go into the ice block to stay safe, but there's not a lot of shield pressure here for the side of the Seoul Dynasty. Like, granted, you have Gesture there. He can just continue to hold down that left click. You've got Fitz, but the May is not going to be doing a whole lot when it comes down to breaking through this double barrier.
No, they need to either do this, rotate around the map, and go towards the point. That's a nice hold that stops them up more.
Oh my god, he plays on the back of the Hulk. This time he finds two. Gesture apparently just not able to go cold in there. Gets knocked off the side. This is catastrophic for the Seoul Dynasty, but everything is going wonderfully for Shanghai. The coordination between Fate and Lee Jae-gon is just on another level right now.
This is getting ridiculous. I was going to say, you either didn't want to rotate with the walls or trying to engage by isolating a player off, likely Fate here, but nothing's working out for them. They're getting booped off, they're getting spawn capped, and here we go. Maybe they can get Fate.
The flux. That is so
not.
meaty. That's such a huge flux. They have, the tac visor rolling as well, so Fitz gets sniped out of the sky. It is another team kill. 90% about to be on the board for Shanghai Dragons, and this is not even close. We're going to see a replay. I don't really want to see this right now, but it's okay. It's a huge boop. Take me back to the game real quick so I can see what's going on, because it was at 90%. There we go, 97. Jester's on the side of the map. Fleta taking him out, gets the finish. The sound barrier looking like it was a solo use onto Anamo, as 2U was only able to find one. Sound barrier now out. Blizzard coming through to help try to survive. Prophet does have the immortality field, but it does not last very long at all. Jester re-arrives, rolls back through. 2U knocked up into the air, finished off. Bit's going to be gone. Prophet dead. No DPS available here for the side of the Seoul Dynasty. And it is just an absolute slaughter at the hands of the Shanghai Dragons. 100% to 0 to kick off this map.
Absolute shellacking, that's how you got to describe that one. Shanghai let nothing through their fingers. Seoul Dynasty couldn't even, I was going to say couldn't even really touch the point. They got to the point with Symmetra TPs and some good rotations using their May, but every fight just went the way of Shanghai Dragons, and it wasn't close. Multiple team kills, as you said. Boops to get the thing started. I mean, look, if we're talking about bridge sticks here, Lee Jae-gon just gave everyone bridge sticks. If this was the Titans, it's Shanghai Dragons, and well, I mean, it'd be too easy. You'd have to make some really hard goals to achieve if it was we're talking about giving out rewards for Shanghai Dragons getting boop kills, because that was just completely opened things up and closed the door on the Seoul Dynasty. And then on top of that, Void getting a huge flux. Finally, Seoul in that last fight get their ultimates on board, and can't save Gesture with the sound barrier. Ultimates aren't making the huge impact. Prophet is still on the May here. I'm starting to believe this May is going to be more of a detriment to the team than a help.
Yeah, I mean, there's just so much damage being pushed up from the side of the Shanghai Dragons, and Prophet, he needs to get in on top of people, and he just has not been able to have that happen yet. Lip will find one. The freeze does come down on the Lip for a moment as Lee Jae-gon finds another boom. He sends Fitz off the side of the map. Lee Jae-gon is absolutely popping off, and this is terrifying. There's another one. God. Somebody has to control this guy. You need to have some double hit scan to control Lee Jae-gon. You're never going to catch him with a May. You cannot freeze this guy, and you need to take him out of the fight. If he continues to do stuff like this, there is no hope for the Dynasty. Of course he's going to go for another one. He's Lee Jae-gon. He doesn't give it
I got to be honest with you. We talked about that one Titans fan in the audience. They're wishing right now, like, dude, we just need our team to do the same thing.
Oh my God, this could be...
He's going to go for it.
Oh.
That would be really good. Yep.
Holy. Okay, congratulations. You have finally killed Lee Jae-gon, but he takes out two. Creative and 2U are out of the fight. Fitz will find Izzy so now there's no Baptiste for either side. It is going to be a 4v4, at least for the moment, but you can see they just cannot push forward right now. They're trying to advance steadily, but Fleta, he's nearly got this ult online. Electro Rockets go through. Lip just looking to zone people back, keep them on the opposite side and try to alleviate some pressure here for Void. Has to roll out of the Blizzard, however, but now here comes the tac visor. Prophet instantly going to be gone. Gesture dead as well, so there's one less barrier to stand behind. Fleta just kiting out around the side, gets in behind that Amp Matrix, now presses forward, looks for the finish, and they will have it. This is not even close.
Void agrees, he nods. I mean, they just walk into the Amp Matrix, they don't even care. Creative drops the window down. They smash through that window. They burgle the Seoul Dynasty. And the Blizzard came on. It was decent. It covers a lot of players. It even gets Void, but they don't kill Void. And Void gets out with an immortality field.
Sorry, not to. I'm molding because he is still on the May. He's still on this.
At least they don't
use
get
the
booped this
blizzard.
time.
Oh, good. the one thing that's gone well.
One less
We've made it
stick.
into the room. Now they have to make it up here onto the point. The Hulk pulls them all to the side. He gets 2 more! Are you kidding me?
How
Are
many?
they letting
How
this
many is
happen?
that?
There's another one. There's another one. Legion, give him the MVP. End it. End the series. It's over. He's the player of the match.
I have the number. I have the number for you. It's 10. He's got 10 environmental kills over this map so far. Look, I'm going to be honest. If this is the same sponsorship that Titans have,
That has to be the most.
Pizza would be shaking their heads right now. I was like, we don't have enough breadsticks in the country. You've completely cleaned our stocks out. This is too many. We wanted one environmental kill. 10 is like, we're going to have to call in the United States to back us up with some more breadsticks. We don't have enough flour for this.
Lee Jae-gon would bankrupt Pizza Hut at this point. But, I mean, I can't believe it. This is unreal. And then Dynasty sticking with the May the whole time. Is this just going to be the gesture syndrome with Roadhog, but profit on May? Like, obviously, I don't expect you to run it as we go into other map types, but come on. You use the Blizzard, you got no value. Swap to something. Try to have some additional control because you're not getting on top of people, so at least try to pick them off at long, medium to long range. Do something different.
Yeah, it just looked like to me their whole game plan was to try and find engagements with the May in this mirror, whereas Shanghai Dragons' entire game plan was play distance, have a double hit scan, have way more anti-shield pressure, which is what Flair on the Soldier's going to give you. And unless Prophet can pop off and just get people, locked up with ice walls, you're not going to win. Even the Blizzard wasn't working, so I agree with you. That this May was not good for the team at all, and it showed. And then on top of that, Lee Jae-gon gets 10 kills, so 10 boops, he'll take that.
Just watch the replay of his last 3 boops. He almost had 3 on the initial, but Gesture didn't get knocked off the side, and then he ended up getting him anyway. But good God, what a start to the series here. I mean, Temple of Anubis is going to be the second map, so that's a direct nerf to Shanghai Dragons because there's nowhere for Lee Jae-gon to boop people off the side of the map. So that's a good thing going for the Seoul Dynasty at the moment. But aside from that, I mean, it just wasn't even close. What a way to kick off this series. Shanghai Dragons looking like they are here to win. We'll see if the Dynasty can try to level out their play, bounce back, and put a win on the board when we return from the break. So do not go anywhere. Map 2 coming at you in just a few.
The Overwatch League is brought to you by T-Mobile, America's largest and fastest 5G network. Set your sights on the competition with T-Mobile. And by Indeed, we help people get jobs. The Overwatch League is brought to you by Coca-Cola, the official refreshment of the Overwatch League. and by IBM, the official cloud and AI partner of the Overwatch League.
Alrighty, welcome back. I've had a little bit of a chance to take a deep breath, to relax, to calm myself down. Now we're ready to go into map number 2. I mean, Shanghai Dragons, Avril, just, good lord, utter destruction of the Seoul Dynasty there on Lijiang.
My fun stat at Lijiang Tower. We already know about the 10 boop kills. I'm not going back to that one. My fun stat is actually that Lip had 0 deaths. He was the only player that didn't die a single time. He had 0 deaths the entire Lijiang map. 25 elims, 13 final blows, 0 deaths. Take a look at some of these boops again. I mean, so they were just opportunistic. I mean, yeah, some were completely set up by Fate, so credit to Fate, by the way, who kind of opens them up. But there's other ones like, look at that. I mean, that's beautiful. Just finds an opportunity, gets fit. This is
gorgeous.
I mean, if the God's watching this VOD right now, he's like, all right, this is pretty hot. I'm thinking this, you know. They understand what's going on. This play was beautiful as well, because I thought it wasn't going to happen. I see, like, Seoul, they've already rotated to White Room. There's no way, like, Lee Jae-gon's missed his timing, but then that Hulk comes on through and delivers another couple of beautiful environmentals. And every time these happen, you're instantly at a 6v5, 6v4, even better. That was a triple there. How about a 6v3? I mean, camera goes straight into Lee Jae-gon. He knows he's done well. Iziaki's there as well. Like, that's my boy. You know how it is.
He's getting a little bashful with the camera there, but gives the peace sign, says, you know what, we're ready to go. But I mean, yeah, there's got to be something different done here from the side of the Seoul Dynasty. Granted, you know, it's going to be a completely different approach to the map. Granted, given that we are going to be moving over into Assault off of you know, the King of the Hill style. So, you know, I'm expecting this to not be nearly as one-sided. But we'll have to just wait and see. Because right now, it seems like Dynasty are fired up. Seems like they're going to be really just being, you know, getting fueled by that audience that is very much cheering for them right now as the last hope for China. So Dynasty definitely need to do something different. Oh, yeah. I mean, they were kind of always maybe going to be the best hope. Just, you know, even despite the 4-0 record for the Hangzhou Spark, you just can't really top the consistency that we've seen from the Shanghai Dragons over the last 2 years. But we'll see what the Dynasty do have prepared as we get ready to jump onto Temple of Anubis. I'm expecting to see a lot more Orisa, but eyes do have to be out on Prophet and see what he's going to be rolling here, whether it's going to be the Echo or if they're going to shift over to something maybe a little bit different as well.
Yeah, I think this is a good Echo map. I think this is where Prophet versus Flair Echo battle should take place. McCree's or Ashes for Fitz and Lip, that's going to be a great duel as well. Look, Seoul Dynasty, you made a big mistake on Lijiang Tower. Accept it, move on, it's fine. There's room to show up on it. There's room to fix that, and Anubis is going to be where that takes place. So Seoul have been here before. They've been down versus the Shanghai Dragons. They defeated Shanghai Dragons. Again, record is 7-8. It's pretty much neck and neck. Shanghai Dragons only lead by 1 match win here. Seoul Dynasty absolutely know how to beat the Shanghai Dragons. They've done it 7 times. So can they do it again? Prophet coming through towards the Echo as expected. Fits over towards the Ash. That's a defensive lineup locked and loaded. Double shield once again. Did kind of tease that we were going to see plenty of double shield today. At minimum, a lot of Orisa, but now to you also on this segment as he was on the previous map as Shanghai Dragons. I'm expecting that this should be fairly similar. Echo Ash would be the name of the game, and Lip will go for an opening hook shot, then probably change the Ash.
All right, let's see if he can nail anybody here. Taking his time, waiting, holding on to the grapple. Spotted Prophet for just a moment.
Maybe he's staying.
Now they're going to be safe and behind the barriers, though. Yeah,
I'll be honest.
He hasn't gone back yet.
It'll be tough for him to crack through the barriers, but now that now this couple of shields are down, he's looking for angles. I mean, Tuyu's caught in the open. That's Tuyu on the floor, so if nothing else, you might not have killed Tuyu, but he's completely out of position. That's still a good win for the Shanghai Dragons in a small micro way.
Yeah. Gains them a lot of ground. See Fitz not taking damage necessarily there from the Lip, but still getting tagged up. As these shots continue to go straight into the side of Tuyu, chunking him out as best as possible. Lip gonna have to get the heck out of there. Dashes over to the side. We'll grab the Mega Pack and be okay, but Fleta, he comes in on top of him. Fitz is distracted. Gets in. Manages to find that kill. Accretion stun onto Prophet, but not gonna lead to the kill yet. Great, however, now gonna get picked off. Yeah, Fleta coming up huge. 1v1. They actually finish each other off. Oh, that's just poetic. as Lip tries to escape. Will manage to pull away from that hold in time, and almost going in, trying to get this kill, but Lip just manages to hold down the unscoped left click, finishes him off, and this is such a fast cap now for the side of the Shanghai Dragons, who are looking to speed run this series. Still sticking through with the Widowmaker, at least for now, as he almost does have that infra sight up. We'll see if they can snowball this forward.
Now, Widowmaker typically doesn't have good snowball pressure for Cat B. If you want an Ashe right now, a Bolt would be brilliant, but just not going to be the case. Infrasight to kind of give them the angles, and Easy to take advantage of that. Not even with the Infrasight just yet. A lot of damage coming on through on the front lines.
Oh, no.
Jester's down, and 2U is already chunked out. Look at Animo, dies, fell out.
Jester has fallen. Prophet does get the Flux online here with the duplicate. Fleta rather pushes up in front of him, but look at this. They are just ripping them limb from limb. There is nothing that they can do. Everybody's dead at the moment. 2U still stunned as he tries to get back over towards the point, but they're just not allowing it to happen. The fly-through comes in from Anamo, but Lip is there, gets the shot, and that is 4 minutes and 52 seconds remaining on Temple of Anubis as the cap comes in. Shanghai Dragons are unrelenting.
Faces on the Seoul Dynasty players right now. This is a tough position. You could see it. And one of the only kills that Dynasty actually got was when Prophet and Fleta traded each other. 2 MVPs got the kills. You want another fun stat?
Sure.
I talked about Lip having 0 deaths on Lijiang Tower. He still got 0 deaths. In fact, all the Shanghai Dragons have 0 deaths. You want to know the only player that died? Yeah, it's Fleta getting traded by Prophet. So I wasn't lying when I said that was the only kill that Seoul Dynasty got. It literally was the only kill they got. There's 0 deaths on Shanghai outside of Fleta and Prophet trading.
The other thing is, like, it's 13-1. That means that they just went in, they killed everybody once, they killed him again at B, and that was good enough to get the cap.
1 extra.
Yeah, it was that.
One
that's
poor
it.
bugger died 3 times.
Unbelievable.
Who was that? That was Gesture. No, actually, Animo and Gesture died 3 times, and 2U died once. So, yeah, 2U gave one of his deaths away and said, yeah, Animo, Gesture, you guys, one of you guys take one more. As it's rough, man. We some of these guys, I don't think some of them got ultimates. Did Fitz get a single bob? I don't think Fitz got a bob there. I don't think it happened. It ended too quickly. It ended so quickly. I mean, 452 is 208. 208 for the entire attack. So, I mean, I don't know if we want to bring up Matt Mercer again, because a 208's got to be pretty damn. I'll check it in the break. We don't have to call him up, but I'll check it in the break when we get over and finish this game.
Yeah, I mean, it's just such a fast, such a dominant attack there. And you like the adjustment of the Hangzhou coming in for Fitz, just to try to be able to break through these barriers, maybe even just get that stray headshot coming through. Try to take somebody out of the fight quickly. Let's see if he's going to be able to find some value here. As Lip playing, a bit of a rarer angle, I suppose, when it comes down to the Ashes. Playing out over this side, over by the stairway. Boy, does get demeched. That's a decent, solid poke start here for the side of Seoul, and then they manage to follow up onto Lee Jae-gon. So now with the Baby Diva dead, they can't even try to get that res in. Fate trying to pull back around the corner, but Fitz is hounding him down. Manages to find the kill, and this is looking like a very fast attack as well for the side of the Seoul Dynasty. And the question again does become, can they snowball it?
This is absolutely what they need. I mean, Seoul got to bounce back somehow, and it's going to give them a decent time back to work with. Now 452 is going to be the target for the Seoul Dynasty, and they have ultimates coming online for potential snowball. Shanghai Dragons still working on those. You got Fleta that's reasonably far behind Prophet here as well, and once Seoul Dynasty can drop this window down, have Fitz and Prophet shooting out of it, they'll be in business for sure. So 5:30 roughly. I don't suspect they'll get it in the next 30 seconds, but if they can get maybe a 4-minute time back, that'll be good. Prophet's got to live. Prophet dies.
It's a 1-for-1, but Prophet does get res back into the fight. Void using the kinetic grasp, just looking to build up some shield, but with the opening on the Dragon Strike, this could be huge. Maybe we see them match the time as they make their way over to the point right now. Prophet has the duplicate out. He's looking to get this Flux, and everybody's grouped up in the catacombs right now. Tries to use it, does manage to find Lip, which to drop it back down, but will get stunned out of the ultimate, so will not be able to assassinate that Ashe. Lip now going to be swapping over to the Reaper to try to break down the tank line here for the Dynasty. Fleta goes on a bit of a deep flank. Reaching around the back, finds the stun. Fitz now going to be eliminated, as is 2U. And it seems like despite the great start for the side of the Dynasty on this push, this will just end up going the way of the Dragons. Pull off the hold as that Flux will get the kill onto Anamo, and Fleta is really pushing forward for this. Well, that's fine.
He'll die, but I mean, he's going to respawn in just a hot second anyway. I mean, this is so many late deaths for the Seoul Dynasty. Flitter dying here is inconsequential. In fact, I'd go as far as to say it's 100% worth. Look at the time. I was saying maybe if sulking at 4 minutes, it would be pretty decent for a time bank. It's not looking like a 4 minute anymore because they would need more ultimates. Currently, they have maybe 2 coming online in the next 30 or so seconds. Shanghai Dragons will be banking up as well. Supercharge is very useful here. So Seoul Dynasty, they got to go through a phase where, you know, ideally Fitz will find a headshot here. There's no res available. Find a 6v5, playing through the flux. But if Fitz is down, so it's just not going to happen.
Yeah, he's just playing.
Even the res, I mean, now you don't have a res for the fight, so it still sucks.
Yeah. Yeah, they still just kind of have to pull back and wait. Still a considerable amount of damage being pushed out onto the Dynasty as they try to approach this point. Lip stunned up there for a moment. Seems like he's going to be able to get out safely as Prophet dives in on top. And oh man, the sticky bomb as well. It will take out Void. He takes out himself, and that is catastrophic. It's going to have to be yet another full reset. And what was, you know, looking like going to be a strong time bank for the side of the Seoul Dynasty is now shrinking as the seconds go by. 3.5 minutes remaining. Still very capable. They have that single tick on the board. So they're not starting from scratch, but it just seems like Shanghai are now entrenched.
Well,
they've stabilized with this defense.
Exactly, because the problem now for Seoul Dynasty is that Shanghai have ultimates, and previously, you know, both teams kind of didn't have ultimates, and then Fate had that one supercharger. He spends a supercharger, converts them to ult charge for the rest of his team because that's boosting damage, right? And now Shanghai have got 4 other ults to work with, and he's looking pretty stacked. Dragon Strike's going to come on through. Hasn't hit anybody yet. He's Yaki saved by the Immortality Field, but not quite. He still goes down.
Yeah, he does. Flood doing his best to try to turn this back around. Manages to find one, as does Lip. His creative will fall. So one of the support's going to be gone. Lip goes in deep, pops the Death Blossom. Won't lead to anything exactly in the kill feed, but the rest of the squad is certainly there to capitalize. Phenomenal, the last one to fall for that added bit of stagger. Didn't quite spot it, but to you, he just swapped back over onto the Sigma.
Yep.
Didn't see what he was going for before, but it's going to be just a hard reset on the ult percentage now.
What charge was he on? Because I'm trying to figure out if he had charge or not. If he actually, yeah, well, it's rough regardless. And the Animo's given up on the Mercy entirely. Now they're going over towards Brig, kind of match what Dragons are doing, if nothing else, or just mostly mirror exactly what Dragons will be doing on their end of stuff. Fitz will still be playing over towards the McCree, so just wants to use that. Tuyu did actually flux to previous fights, so maybe it's fine. He didn't really delete that much. Look at the damage coming through now, though. Fitz in a decent amount of trouble. If he goes down, this time you definitely don't have a res.
Yeah, certainly not. Now under 2 minutes. Still plenty of ultimates to utilize here. As Fletic goes in, Duplicate is out. Immortality Field's going to be finished off first. He's pushing up the corner. He's looking for a flux. Spots Prophet up top, who's got similar thoughts. Both of these Sigma dupes look to get this flux online. There it is. Pushes them up into the air. They're looking to finish off Gesture. Can't quite make it happen, but they will knock Prophet out of his own Duplicate. Put it back over to the side now, just looking to deal with Prophet, trying to get those shots through with the left clicks, unable to make it happen. Pulls back, gets a considerable amount of damage, and forces the Immortality Field, and creative, he steps out of it. Gets finished off by Izayaki. Still here in the front line, though. Yeah, beams coming down. Fitz trying to do something, trying to peel for a squad, but the flashbang finds no value. They clean him up, but it's another effective team kill. And with a minute left, only a single tick on the board. Dynasty, they've exhausted all of their options. They don't have any ults available at the moment. The rally and the flux are the closest things.
It's like a crazy cleanup as well, because Shanghai Dragons have Void and also Flare flanking around the edges. Soul can't even get out from their engagement. They want to disengage and not allowed to go back home. We'll have to go back the hard way, you know, respawning. At this point in time, like you said, not enough time remaining on the clock at all. You have 5 ultimates coming online for the Shanghai Dragons. About 3 coming online for the Seoul Dynasty, and they got to get through so many resources that the Shanghai Dragons hold, and so much delay as well. Here comes a flux. Should be a big catch. Just a 1 so far, but does force the Immortality Field.
Yeah, Void gets himself placed up top there on the archway. Drops back as he does fall low. But it's just buying time. You know, you pop that flux, suddenly you buy 10 more seconds off the clock. Though. Rally rolling for Namo. That's going to be the Ant Matrix out for creative. Big flank coming in. Void and Fleta around the back. Stun comes through. They're looking to get the finish there on a Fitz. He grabs the health pack to try to stay alive, but they're just piled into the corner at the moment. Now Fleta pushing forward, finishes it off to you. Still holds on to the Duplicate should he need it. The Gesture is just left out to dry on the point. Anamo is desperately trying to get back over to him, but as he does, they will both fall to the ground dead. And there you have it, as the OT will bleed away. The Shanghai Dragons will close the distance to this victory even further. Now up to 0. It's match point. It's 1 map win away from punching their ticket yet again into another monthly tournament.
This is crazy so far. That was fast, and I got a bit of a treat for you, and also for the fans at home. You don't have to wait until after the break for me to give you the actual official, statement on how fast that Temple Anubis was. I have already checked it, and I got to say, Shanghai Dragons have now set the new Overwatch League record for fastest Temple Anubis attack ever at 2 minutes and 8 seconds. The previous record was held by Houston, San Francisco versus Houston versus Shark at 2 minutes and 12. Was the fastest time before, so Shanghai have just beaten this one by 4 seconds. So 2:08 versus 2:12, officially now the fastest Anubis attack ever held in Overwatch League.
Well, certainly not what you want to hear if you're a Dynasty fan in this moment. I mean, it's just unfortunately not even close. It was a decently strong attack there from the Dynasty. They got that point 8. They had a significant amount of time. It looked like they were going to have that snowball. But Dragons, they are just so good at being able to stabilize when they're on the back foot. They do just that. They bounce back in, and they just are unrelenting in the defense. They do not give an additional percentage realistically over to the side of the Dynasty. So fantastically done from them. Now just one more map to punch their ticket into the June Joust. We'll see if they can close it out, or if the Dynasty can try to start a reverse sweep, which they so desperately need when we come back from the break.
The Overwatch League is brought to you by T-Mobile, America's largest and fastest 5G network. Set your sights on the competition with T-Mobile. And by State Farm. For auto, home, or renters insurance, like a good neighbor, State Farm is there. The Overwatch League is brought to you by Pringles. Stay in the game. And by NetApp, the official data management partner of the Overwatch League.
Alrighty, we are back, and we are, maybe getting ready to end the day, Avril, which is not something that we had anticipated at all.
Sure.
Shanghai Dragons are absolutely speed-running their way through this series at the moment. I mean, dominant performance on Lijiang Tower, dominant performance on Temple of Anubis. They're barely skipping a beat. A couple holdups there from the side of the Seoul Dynasty, getting that initial cap on A, extending the map slightly, but they are just unrelenting at the moment, and they are looking to go ahead and take this series 3-0 to lock in their spot for the June Joust.
I mean, the only way this could have been more one-sided, really, is if Shanghai Dragons also completed full hold on A, into a speed run on B, and, as we've looked at it now, it officially is a speed run. In fact, it's the fastest speed run. Notably, actually, all the Temple Anubis records were set this year. Well, all the good ones were set this year, because the previous record, like I said, between Shock and Outlaws, they set it against each other this year. And all the... Well, I'm actually looking at only 2020. Let me actually look at overall. Let me look at all seasons, and I'll get back to you on whether it's the fastest of all time, because that was 2021. It's definitely the fastest of this year by no measure. Of all time though, it actually doesn't measure up to some of the previous records, so might have to go back on that one. Sorry for whoever wanted the free karma on Reddit. You might get corrected on a little bit. I should have specified it was the fastest of 2021. If we actually want the fastest of all time, it's like 1:35 between Boston and Dallas in 2018. So yeah, that's maybe a little bit too far away. That's maybe a bit too quick. We had a 2:08. It felt pretty good, but below 2 minutes is pretty wild. We'll just have to celebrate it for what it is for 2021. And for right now, I mean, Seoul Dynasty, one map to try and bring the train back on the rails for a potential reverse sweep. It's that neither Lee Jung nor Anubis really give me a lot of hope so far. I just haven't seen enough of Seoul Dynasty to give me that kind of belief that they can really get the train moving.
Wow. Unfortunate for the person who has already posted that on Reddit. Delete the thread quick before everyone comes in and calls you a big dummy or something like that. I don't know.
Dude,
I was
I
gonna say
baited
something
them.
else, but it's not really
I do
broadcast
enjoy
friendly.
baiting.
Yeah.
I do enjoy that.
It's yeah. We'll have to see how it all measures up. I'm sure we can get Marcel on the phone later on this evening for our time, and when he wakes up. It's one of those boomer guys, so he likes to wake up at 7 a.m. like Hex and Della.
Dude,
But
Hex wakes up
on
at 2
Hollywood.
a.m. to watch this. Hex is watching right now. How you doing, Hex?
He probably is.
So.
I miss you. Let's watch and talk about movies sometime soon. As we are looking at a movie theater as we're on Hollywood. Lip again, starting with the Widowmaker, takes a shot, not going to get the hit, so we'll just go ahead and swap it up. It's going to be the Hangzhou again. So we saw this from Fitz on the last map. It was good to, break open that point initially. Let's see how he fares now. Otherwise, we're looking pretty mirrored up.
Double shield on both sides, Flitter, Prophet staying on the same old. See if Lip can do very similar, like you said, to what Fitz was able to do on Temple of Anubis. Fitz's Ash is kind of what Hollywood, being that this was the map that Fitz really came up on previously when we had that massive match where Fitz dropped, I think, 25k damage in a single map. It was this map. So Fitz had an incredible performance as Ash here previously, and he's got to do that again. And Seoul desperately needs something like that to happen for them to come back in the series. Shanghai slowly walking up, face looking for position. 3 minutes remaining, 1 minute's gone.
Good pressure being applied from the back there. Flutter does now have the boost available, and yeah, we'll just go ahead, jump up over the top, keep himself safe. Mortality field now going to be gone. That's going to be the Amp Matrix out from Izayaki as Legion Gun flutters around with the Valkyrie. Seoul Dynasty now rotating fully off the point, just waiting out that Amp Matrix. This Void continues to apply pressure, is looking to hold the corner. Creative, oh man, dead on top of the dumpster. I think just leave him right there, but now the res will come through. Doesn't get clipped by the Flux, is going to be safe in that regard. Mortality field to help keep his tank alive, at least for a little bit longer, but yeah, the Flux is used by Tuyu. He's only going to find Izayaki. The res is available, he is dead. And that will be the cap coming in. So not even half the time going to be taken out of the time bank as the Dragons go ahead and get this lockdown and now have well over 4 minutes on the clock for themselves to push through the streets phase.
Yeah, I mean, yesterday I said Seoul with a, better late than never team. Now it's just like, they're just too late. They're actually just way too late because you see Tuyu dropping into Flux towards the end. Creative can't get an Amp Matrix before Izayaki either. Everything that Shanghai Dragons got in terms of how they won that previous fight to cap 8, they got in a timely fashion that Seoul Dynasty were not able to respond to. They just couldn't get it done. The only reason right now we're not having a huge snowball is, well, Fitz is going to get an opening frag and slow down the Shanghai Dragons. Now they're trying to take the high ground. Dragon Strike on it. That is going to force Seoul Dynasty to spread.
Okay, Dragon Strike just, get them off that high ground. Bob's going to be sitting up on top of one of the rooftops here. As Prophet goes in, gets the duplicate. It's just going to be going for Faith. Gets the halt in, and yeah, they melt him down. Great kill to try to establish some presence here on the cart. Now they do have the supercharger. Halt going to be unable to find anything, and the Dragons have to pull back to safety to try to stay alive. Oh, crucial timing there. Izayaki will manage to live as Prophet. Did lose the duplicate, just timing out.
Flitter dying twice there really hurts as well. There was another 6v5 situation. Great by Seoul Dynasty to catch that. Prophet will then use duplicate where Flitter can't match. Supercharger coming down from Prophet. That's going to give them a fight when much needed here. Flitter's turn finds Sigma on the other end looking for that Flux. And it's an interesting position for the Seoul Dynasty as they're all kind of on the low ground, but not anywhere near the payload.
Yeah, Flux now just going to be used solo here on the Tuyu. He looks for the Accretion to take Flutter out of the sky. He's unable to do so. Won't miss the elevator, but now continues to apply pressure. Beams coming in. It's not going to be enough to get the kill. Fitz does get res back into the fight. In the meantime, the cart is pushing forward. And
That's what I'm saying.
They need to contest this at some point. Jester's waiting. He'll now drop down, and there's a huge opening. Fitz does manage to find Fleta. They need to deny the res. They're unable to do so, so Fleta's back into the mix, but Prophet does manage to find Izayaki. It's gone yet again. Now Anamo eliminated. Void going to be dead over here on the cart, but the rest of the squad is popping off. Fleta is just destroying people. A 2-for-1 special on the beam is absolutely massive. 2U falls yet again, and that is going to be them pushing forward into point B, and now it's 3:56 on the clock for this final stretch of Hollywood.
That's another too late flux. It's literally a 1v4 flux there. It's hard to watch at that stage. It's a situation, and this is why I brought up, it's a weird position that Seoul were, all so far away from the payload when Fleta was inside his duplication form, copied over the Sigma, and he's just looking at 3 players like, hold up a second, their main tank is chilling here. And I mentioned them being away from the payload because the payload was free pushing the whole time, and they basically push it towards the end. Boy does get a kill, but it will be res.
Okay, well, Immortality Field has to be used just to get the res off, but now Prophet is going to be dead. So yeah, you bring one DPS back into the fight, but you lose out on the other one. So you pushing up, does manage to get the melee kill here on the Lee J gone. Boy just continues to apply so much pressure, just pressing forward up against the Dynasty. Just truly is not really giving a damn. We'll start kiting back, however, as they do lose Fate. So one of the barriers gone. Time to play it out a little bit safer.
Just down now as well, so this fight will be over for sure. Seoul Dynasty losing way too much ground here, and they have ultimates as well. They would love to, drop in a supercharger. Flux coming on again. Shanghai getting more free push, some more alone time with the payload. Still just under 3 minutes remaining. It's decent. It's reasonable. It's not going to be a speed run, but it will be a good cap when they get there, if they can get there, because there's a lot of ultimates for Seoul. They just have to connect these, and they will connect on Fleta.
Void trying to keep himself safe. He's tucked into the corner right now, down to about 100 HP. They're pushing forward. They're looking for that finish. He's just going to go ahead and heat up a lot of that damage with the kinetic grasp. Nearly has the flux online. Prophet, he went for the Orisa. He's looking to build up that supercharger. Now will have it. Flux going to be used, committed just to try to kill off the tanks.
Void.
Seems like it should be able to work. Yeah, Fate and Void both going to fall. And Matrix is still up from Izayaki, but he's got to pull away from it. It's just in too dangerous of a position. He's got nowhere to go, though. Stuck up in the air. Fitz will finish him off. And for now, there will be a slight reprieve here to this onslaught that has otherwise been getting constantly pushed against the Dynasty. So now they can breathe easy, but not for too long.
Good aggression versus Voice specifically there, who dies on about 98%, so they couldn't quite counter-flux their way through to try and save the fight for the Dragons. Losing both tanks is going to be a bit of a problem there. A lot of damage coming on through. They will be, survive Anima Creative sitting on support ultimates. As we're just trading a little bit more. 140 remaining, flatted down again. Fitz is opening up really big.
Yeah, huge pick off there. Another headshot now as Lip is dead as well. It's just going to be the Fitz and 2U show in the kill feed. Prophet does want to get involved, so we'll go ahead and tag up 2 on the back end. Good hold. And just a minute and 20 left to burn here for the Seoul Dynasty as instant res is available, and Amo puts Prophet right back into the fight.
Now this is where things get dangerous. 1 minute 12 for the Shanghai Dragons. The payload is starting to slide back as well. They're going to have to rely on an overtime push. They have to even get past Seoul Dynasty, who are holding up very close. They might get to you. Maybe Gesture. That's the tank's down.
He was just so far away. He was completely split off from the rest of the squad. I mean, the pocket healing tried to come through on the back end there from an Amo, but this wasn't going to be good enough. That amp matrix from Fleta was just
creative
and taking down the Orisa. Now, I don't know what is happening. I don't know where anybody is going at the moment on the side of the Seoul Dynasty. Fitz is the only one who seems to have the memo of just, pull back over towards the point. He gets himself out of there and up onto the high ground, but the rest of the squad was so scattered.
This is going to come down to one 8 matrix from Izayaki, so they actually force ultimates out from the Shanghai Dragons. Let's see if this window is actually going to be effective enough. 2U still waiting for an opportunity to use the Flux. They may have 2, because Prophet has a duplicated Sigma as well.
There's the Flux, but they keep Void topped up. Amp Matrix now going to expire, so Izayaki loses out on that burst healing.
Cancel, Prophet.
Everybody topped up as best as possible, and he still does have his Immortality Field. Prophet taken out of the dupe, comes out, manages to find Izayaki, but Fleta is fast on the reply. Gets some revenge for his support. Fate falling low, will get dropped. Supercharger's still going to be up. Slip finds Fitz. They're looking to get the finish, but Void with a sliver of HP will go down right at the end. The cart will not quite make it to the end of Hollywood. So it is a successful defense. There is a win condition instantly there for the Dynasty, but they still have to push all the way to the very end of Hollywood.
Exactly.
I mean, look
so
at
in
that.
terms
Come
of
on.
defensible positions, it's basically in the parking spot.
It is.
But it's ever so slightly not according to the game that I don't know, it doesn't count. So there it is. You're just, nope. just a couple of centimeters off.
The game is like it's like an American driving instructor. You mess up the parallel park very slightly, like you don't even hit the curve, but you're just maybe like half an inch off too far off the curve, and it's like, nope, you don't get your license today, sonny.
No, it's about an inch and a half off, just 1 inch off actually. That's what the tape measure says. So
yeah,
come back next year. As I'm sure Seoul, they're going to be reasonably happy with that. Don't have to go into a time bank. The difficulty now will be, okay, can we match this? Because like you said, it's effectively a cap. The only difference is we are not going to time bank. So you will have to, pretty much finish the map. And no chance for a draw as well, which is also great. You're going to love those. More double shield action to start out with. And for Seoul Dynasty, a lot of, I think, where their success in that defense came from, fits on the Hangzhou getting those opening frags. Those 6v5s really gave Seoul Dynasty massive advantages for the most part. And if it wasn't for some of those clutch kills coming on through, I mean, that would be really difficult. And good selection of times to take fights as well. Shutting down Void just in time before he gets the Flux. Getting aggressive on towards the C entrance, even though they kind of get wiped there, but they waste more time. So just understanding when and where to take fights has been really good for the Seoul Dynasty on that defense. See how they get to attack down if they can actually be able to finish this entire thing, get all the way to the end.
Fitz just sending the arrows through, looking to burst down this barrier. Give Prophet an easier time of weaving his damage through to try to get that duplicate online. Taking himself above the members of Shanghai, but does have to pull back. You always have to respect Lim. So you poke your head out for just a second, and he's going to take it off. Pushing out into the stairwell. Void's done up there for the moment. Immortality Field going to be good for Mizuaki to keep them alive. Dynasty pulling back up.
They got the window.
Playing it out safe, yeah. Do have that ready to go. We'll see where Creative wants to place it. It's just going to be straight up here on the corner. All together on the 2, the beam. He was expecting some extra damage, it seems, this Prophet, but doesn't manage to find anything. Bob's going to be taken down immediately. Doesn't find too much value there. So this doesn't really contest the point at all. But jumped out to half HP, and Prophet is on the hunt. He's looking for the finish, but the Mega Pack does get grabbed, and Lip in the meantime, he's cozy here over in the cafe. Manages to find Gesture. Now he's looking for an ammo. Gets the tag through, and does get the kill. Hits with the Storm Arrows will get rid of Fleta as they continue to trade blows back and forth, but it will be the Dynasty stabilizing, or not stabilizing rather, it's going to be the Dragons stabilizing here on the point with this defense, staving them off. They don't quite get that tick.
Which is wild because that creative amplification matrix comes out at such a good time. I think Mizuaki was only about 55, 60% when the window was already available. That's a huge advantage. There's no other ultimates online for Shanghai Dragons until Lip finds the Bob just, moments later. And Void, he sticks his arm out, has the kinetic grasp, and they just avoid all the damage. Initially, the Bob did look pretty good. It didn't disrupt, I think, the Ant Matrix as much as I thought it did, but it at least pulls back some of the members of Seoul Dynasty to address the Bob, to not be shooting through the window, be shooting the Bob instead. Let's take a look at what Mizuaki now does with his window. This will slow down Seoul by a significant margin. They probably don't want to fight it.
Void holding them off here on this back flank. Nice, quite a bit of damage. It's going to be Flux for Flux. Both of them going up into the air. Fleta gets the duplicate over onto Gesture. Looks for another supercharger here to chain in behind Fates, which is currently down to the ground. Fate will finish off Gesture, but now it's going to be Lip and Lichigon taken out of the fight. Immortality Field gone. Supercharger gone. Fleta has another one drop down onto the ground. It comes up with 2 kills. That's both supports of the fight. So much work done there by Fleta. Now he's looking for Prophet. Manages to beam him down, and Fleta, can he possibly make this work basically on his own? Because Fate, he's just hiding in behind this barrier right now. He's got 74 HP, just desperately is trying to hold on. And Void comes in, gets the accretions done. Fate is going to stabilize. He's going to fuel these next ultimates to come up for the supports on the side of the Dragons. And now it's 55 seconds left. Reminder, Dynasty, they have to push all the way to the end of the map if they want to win this, if they want the series to keep going. Otherwise, the Dragons, they close it out.
And this is the thing, right? You can't be comfortable with your Soul. Even though you've defended C, you have to get past A, and they're struggling to do that. It's a battle between Prophet and Fleta. C would carry harder. Fleta got, 3 kills here? No team had supports. All 4 supports were down. And that was a rough position to be in. Here comes that Bob. Has been stunned up, but is blocking Seoul Dynasty's progress.
Gets rocked. Dynamite not going to find anything. Lip coming over.
Holy cow!
Unbelievable.
No way.
Just rips apart Fitz. Now he's looking for an ammo yet again.
Jeez.
The guy, he has absolutely gorgeous tracking. Beautiful tracking. Beat down. That was gorgeous. This has got to be it. Gesture falling low. Creative does manage to find Void, but they need to pull a rabbit out of a hat right now. Do the Dynasty if they want to make this happen. They will have the contest for overtime on the point. Fitz charging forward with a Wraith Walk. Tries to get himself there, but he just gets absolutely annihilated. The Lucio is in, but Anamo is dead, and the OT will continue to bleed down one after the other. The Dynasty, they try to keep things going, but they are just looking at their hopes and dreams of participating in the June Joust bleed away from them. Sand through their fingers. And the last ones to be finished off now is Creative. Fades over to the other side with the Moira, but it gets finished off by the Coach Gun, and they've done it. An utterly dominant showing from the Shanghai Dragons. They absolutely demolished the Seoul Dynasty. A 3-0 sweep to shut them out of the June Joust. The Dragons, yet again, are going to be representing the APAC region.
And deservedly so as well. Shanghai Dragons have come to save everyone's pick'ems. You thought maybe all your pick'ems are going to be boomed today. I'm sure, you know, there were plenty of people that also went for Seoul. I mean, I know you did, Seth, but here, Shanghai Dragons, they'll be pretty happy that at least one team, one of the Chinese teams that were able to represent, you know, the region on stage at the Hangzhou Spark homestand, even though the lights are all red right now. Hangzhou Spark fans going from pink to red as, you know, this will be the team. This is definitely a team you can just see by the crowd cheers. This is a team that they've been backing to try and at least have, you know, one of the local teams that were live at the venue get on through, and a worthwhile trip for Shanghai as well. This is the only game they officially play at the homestand. Of course, all 3 days at the homestand. They'll play the one match, but that one match is great. Person to the left, by the way, is a bit of tribute. That's the Guangzhou Charge owner. As, I mean, we thought we were going to get 1-3-0 match today, and that was probably going to be the Spark versus NY Excel game. That was probably the one that we thought was going to be a fast 3-0. Ends up being the Shanghai Seoul game, and for, you know, what is meant to be a bit of an El Clasico. In the past, it has been. Based on record, it has been. But today, absolutely not. Now a 9-7 overall record, and it stands to be the last 2 games that Shanghai played versus Seoul Dynasty have been wins for Shanghai, and the most recent of which, that just happened now, was the most dominant of those games.
Yeah, this was just absolutely insane. It just seems like the Dragons, you know, they have their number. I mean, I thought perhaps the Dynasty was going to be able to stabilize after that really rough first map, but there was just really not much of a semblance of cohesion here for the squad. Dragons, they were operating on all cylinders. It was just so lopsided, this matchup, which is not what we anticipated at all. I think we kind of answered the question here, Avril, of which Christopher Nolan movie is this? This one's Inception, because I'm not sure if this is real or still just a dream. But I'm liking what I'm seeing.
Applies to both matches.
Yeah, I mean, insane performance for the Dragons, and a very well-deserved slot to be representing APAC in the June Joust. But whew, I mean, this is a fast day, but let's just go ahead and let's carry on with it. Let's take a look at our player of the match here and see who we have lined up today, because there's multiple choices, I would say, on the side of the Dragons. Everybody played phenomenally, but yeah, it's got to be Lee Jae-gon.
Yeah. I was going to say, man, and by the way, what I find ironic about this is Shu had that tweet. It's like, oh, yeah, I see what this Overwatch League only give MVP awards over to DPSs, and then we're starting to give them out to supports. Then we get a main support one. Rare to see a main support player of the match as well, so well done to Lee Jae-gon. Lee Jung-Tao was like Lee Jae-gon Tower, really. It's, Seoul Dynasty gone at that stage, gone off the map, into the drink, off them, completely out of the June Joust. Great setups by Fate. I think you got to also credit Fate for a decent fair few of these. Remember, there's 10 total environmental kills here, and every single one of them, huge impact, really destroyed Seoul's chances of being competitive on this map at all. And it turns out that Seoul's most competitive map of Hollywood, I would even say historically so for this particular stage in June Joust. Again, Fitz and Seoul Dynasty had great performances on Hollywood previously in the June Joust, but now that was a full hold into nearly a map completion, and the only reason it seems close is because Shanghai didn't finish the entire map, but beyond that, I mean, what a brilliant performance. Shanghai have everything to be happy about today. Lee Jae-gon has everything to be happy about today as well.
Yeah, I mean, this was just classic Lee Jae-gon. When he was announced that he was joining the Overwatch League, it was so exciting to see, because he was just so instrumental in the success of Runaway alongside Gangnam Jin and whatnot. It was a huge support duo, and this was him playing just so very well the entire way through. So very much a classic performance from him, and you love to see it. We always jest that it's live by Lee Jae-gon, die by Lee Jae-gon. Today it was very much live. He's in the prime of his life.
Someone died.
And just completely shut him down. Yeah, I mean, the other team died by Lee Jae-gon. That's what it was. But it's time for our game break here at the end of the evening, presented by Pringles. And, we could just kind of reminisce about today. It's been really, really fast. What, like 2.5 hours? Yeah, 2.5 hours, almost on the dot for this entire broadcast.
I'm gonna drop my bold prediction here, Sith. I said yesterday that Hangzhou Spark were going to be in the grand finals of the June Joust. That obviously can't happen now, so I'm going to have to change that and basically retcon that to say Shanghai Dragons will be in the grand finals. But not only that, my bold prediction is going to have to be that Shanghai Dragons will win the June Joust. Not only will be grand finals, but they're going to win the whole thing. Because I got to kind of one up my bold prediction from yesterday. Right? I got to do a little bit better than that.
Yeah, it's call it caster synergy or just maybe an obvious choice, but I have to agree with you. I think that was going to be my bold prediction as well. Is that it just looks like Shanghai is going to be able to take this whole thing. The other teams, we don't know who's going to be representing North America yet. We'll find that out later on. But it's still, they just look like they are leaps and bounds above everybody right now. This was a huge dominant showing.
Can I retcon again? I want to go spicier.
Sure,
I want to go a little bit spicier. I will add on to that bold prediction by saying not only will it be Shanghai Dragons in the grand finals, it'll be Shanghai Dragons versus Dallas Fuel in the June Joust grand finals, and then Dragons win it by getting the revenge victory versus Dallas Fuel. So we're going to get a little bit more complicated, just because it's got to be a bold prediction, right? It can't be too easy. You're right. Just saying Shanghai will be there winning is maybe a little bit too easy. So let's add a few more caveats in there and see how we go later on.
I mean, yet again, I'm right there with you. I've kind of been expecting the Fuel to be able to make it in there. I think that they will be able to make it into that final yet again. But if Shanghai plays like they did today versus the Fuel, then I think they very well can take that final. But here we go. Shanghai Dragons and the NYXL are advancing forward. We have to see NYXL. I mean, this is, we kind of anticipate that the Shanghai Dragons are going to be a representative of APAC at the majority of these tournaments. It's very much an upset if they're not there. But this is still, I'd say the more interesting of these two is obviously going to be the NYXL, just given the kind of lackluster season that they've had thus far. Yes, they got gifted their top 4 spot basically by the Valiant yesterday by, just taking that single map off of the Fusion, but they played really well today. It seemed like a bit of a mix between Hangzhou being less than stellar. Speaking of, NYXL, they did look cleaner than they have throughout this entire season. So I'm looking forward to seeing how they develop as well.
I mean, credit to the NYXL. I mean, you may be gifted a position, but you still have to win the match in an upset win as well. You have to come in as the underdog versus the #1 seed in APAC. So that's well done. And just for add a bit of spice on Twitter, you might have seen it already. But apparently, Hotbar and Mana are still carrying the NYXL from another team. They got to get the homies in. They got to get NYXL in somehow. So drop that map to Valiant, shoe in the NYXL, and NYXL have completely used that, made some lemonade, and boom, straight to the June Joust.
Well, maybe Hoppa should stick with supporting his OG team there with the Fusion rather than the ones that he's been on that are now his rival squads. So maybe misallocation of his own resources. But what a wild day. Definitely a lot shorter than we anticipated, but certainly some pretty crazy results and whatnot. So either way, entirely entertaining all the way through. But guys, that does it for us here on the APAC broadcast. That does it for the Hangzhou homestand. Obviously, we do have some more coming up. Hasher's been talking about, the Dallas Fuel hosting some events over in North America. So it's a very exciting time to be an Overwatch League fan. So we'll see what happens in the future, and hopefully we can, return to some more frequent LAN events, because this has been really, really fun. Even though we're not there in person, it's been wonderful to see a live audience sitting there watching these matches, getting hyped up about seeing their regions, excel. So I, for one, am all about it. I know you are too. But that's going to do it from us, guys. Thank you for watching. The NA matches are going to be coming up later on, so make sure you guys tune in so you can see who the Shanghai Dragons and the NYXL are going to be going up against in the June Joust. Aside from that, we'll see you later.
The Overwatch League is brought to you by Pringles. Stay in the game.